Happy new moon. A new moon in Aries is typically fiery, fast, passionate, all about action, all about movement, and doing the things that you want, going after what you want. But this new moon is not quite like that. We're going to explore the energies of this new moon using both Western and Chinese astrology in my signature style, which is simple and easy to understand, as well as practical and applicable to your life. We will start out with Western astrology, but I will include timestamps for the Chinese astrology analysis if you do want to just skip ahead to that. So starting off with our Western astrology analysis, let's talk about what are the signs that are going to be personally affected based on the energies around this new moon first. So if you have your sun, moon, rising in Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, you'll be personally affected. If you are a Scorpio rising, you will also be personally affected. And finally, if you have any planets within 24 degrees of Aries to 0 degrees of Taurus, those planets will be affected by this new moon as well, especially if they are your personal planets. So sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars. From Jupiter all the way out to Pluto, those are more of our outer planets. It's not going to be as personally felt for you. That's going to be more of a generational impact. So especially if you have personal planets within those degrees, that will be affected for you. Starting off with the fact that we have 6 planets in Aries for this new moon. 6 is a ridiculous amount to have in the one sign because we only have 10 planets. So more than half of our planets are in the same sign. Having 6 planets in Aries marks a huge shift, not just for society, but also for our internal dynamics, our internal energy. There's going to be less umming and ahhing. It's going to be more just like, you know what, just go and do it. Whatever you are wanting to do, go and do it. Stop thinking, stop waiting for the perfect moment, stop planning out every single little step and every single little detail. Just go and actually start the thing, because if you keep planning and you keep thinking, you have not actually taken a step forward. And Aries is all about that momentum, that movement, that action, that initiation forward. Now, a new moon marks a new beginning. This is the start of a lunar cycle. So in Aries, this is all about how do you move your energy? How do you take initiative? How do you speak up for yourself? How do you stand up for yourself? How do you stand true in your independent identity? How do you own what you are passionate about? How do you go after that wholeheartedly? But sitting next to our new moon is the asteroid Chiron. And Chiron is what is known as our wounded healer. This is where we have a wound so deep that we may never be able to fully heal it, but because we have such a deep understanding of that wound, once we are doing the work to heal it and we have done that work for a while and we have healed it as much as we can then use all of that knowledge and experience to then also help others. That's why it's the wounded healer. Now, Chiron sitting next to the new moon has the impact of bringing up things that we have been hurt by, especially in the past, especially in our early childhood and upbringing. So this can be fears, wounds, trauma, things that we are embarrassed about, things that we are ashamed of. And the house that this new moon sits in on your chart can tell you exactly where this is coming up. As an example, this new moon falls into my 3rd house of communication. So this can make me feel like there are things that I have been hesitating to say, or I have been holding back on saying, ways that I have wanted to express myself, but I haven't really done so yet. That's the Aries side. That's the momentum, initiation, and wanting to now express those sides of me. But the fear of being judged or being misunderstood for what I say comes up right alongside that for me to face. And that is the impact of Chiron sitting next to it. By the way, I write insights for the 12 houses for each new and full moon throughout the year inside my 2026 Astrology e-calendar. It syncs directly into your Google Calendar, so you can just click into it and read your personalized message. If you want to check that out, I will leave the link below. Now let's have a look at the other planets in Aries. We have Neptune, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn, all sitting conjunct, so all sitting next to each other in the beginning degrees of Aries. And we're going to go through these one by one and explore their impact. Let's start off with Neptune because it's sitting at 2 degrees Aries. So Neptune is a planet of dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination. And while it was in Pisces, there was a huge boom of the spiritual industry. But things are not very clear in Pisces. Remember that Neptune also rules Pisces. So it was traveling through its home sign, and it also rules illusions. Now that it's moved into Aries, we've been seeing the truth come out about many important figures, not just in the spiritual industry, but all around the world. Because Aries gives form to something, whereas in Pisces, it's still quite intangible. It's still a little bit foggy or murky. So people have also been turning away from ungrounded, floaty things into more practical, actionable practices that are tangible, things that they can act on. And in general, the pace has picked up. There's a lot more impulsivity. And with Neptune ruling our dreams, Neptune being in Aries now also talks about how do we bring form to the things that we imagine or we hope for or we wish for, instead of just thinking about it and dreaming about it like we did when Neptune was in Pisces. How do we actually give form to it? How do we actually act on it? Neptune is sitting next to Mercury, the planet of communication. So this is a new moon that encourages you to have mental clarity around your dreams, to own them, to speak to them if you haven't done so already, to have the courage to take action on your dreams instead of just thinking and planning. However, with Mars and Saturn also here, this is not a time to act rashly or impulsively. Mars is the planet of action and Saturn is the planet of restriction and boundaries and limitation. So this is calculated, this is consistent, this is steady action with a clear direction that can build into long-term success. This is not finding the be-all and end-all, the single one thing that's going to get you to where you want to go. That is not realistic. Although it can happen, we also have to be realistic in terms of what can our nervous system hold? What are we capable of holding in terms of our reality? So we're going to plan, but we're still going to take action. We're going to find a balance of both. What do we need to plan ahead for, and what can we do right now that we have been hesitating on, that we have been doubting ourselves about, that are actions that we can do today or maybe tomorrow? Versus what is more of a long-term goal that we need to compile our day-to-day actions into getting there and achieving, if that makes sense. So this mental clarity is something that we're going to talk about in the Chinese astrology analysis because this is a deeply psychological new moon. But coming back to Western, Mars and Saturn traditionally are called our malefics, so they're seen as more negative or challenging planets. So similar to Chiron's impact on the sun and moon, this is also getting you to reflect on where have you reacted or moved too impulsively when it comes to your dreams. At the same time, when have you also planned too much and been waiting for the perfect time to do something, and so you've just kind of held yourself back? So similar to what we were just discussing before, Mars, Saturn, kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Mars wants to move and it wants things to be done yesterday. Saturn wants to plan. It doesn't like moving impulsively. Although being in Aries, again, that kind of has to bring a balance into the way its energy is manifesting and its energy is being used. Now, this new moon also has a square to Pluto, and Pluto brings in control, power, transformation, the depth, the shadows. Squares are an aspect, so it's the line, it's the red line that we can see from the new moon to Pluto, and squares are arguably the most uncomfortable aspect that we can have in a chart. So they are definitely uncomfortable, but they give us the opportunity to become aware of something so that we can change it. So if you have noticed issues around people being controlling, or maybe you being controlling, or you acting out of impulse to feel like you have some semblance of control, that is this square in action. If you feel like you have been more sensitive than usual when it comes to feeling like people are in a weird kind of power play with you, that is this square in action. If past feelings and past memories have come up in regards to people who have betrayed your trust, traumatized you, maybe been abusive to you, then this is this square in action as well. Then we take into account the fact that Chiron also sits next to this new moon. And this configuration is bringing up all of these sore spots for us to transform them and to bring more healing to them and to step back into our power. If you have been a follower of mine for a while, you know that I always say this: there are no intrinsically bad or good placements in astrology. Everything has two sides. It's two sides of the same coin. So with Chiron and Pluto, on the one side, we have all of this pain, all of this trauma that we have been through, all of this heavy stuff that we keep deep inside, whether or not we have actually become aware of it or not. There may be a lot of suppressed things that are coming up around this new moon, but it is all of this pain that we have endured. On the other side of the same coin, this is all about breaking that pattern. How do you break the pattern of control or the pattern of power and transform your wounds to help you actually find your own strength and your own power? So on the one hand, this is pain and wounds, and on the other hand, this is your genuine empowerment. And this is a new moon that is helping you with a new beginning to step deeper into your own empowerment, so that when you are using this Aries energy, this motivation and this fire to go after what you want, you have that clarity. You are not acting out of a reactiveness from those wounds or from your past. You have integrated them, you have processed them, you have accepted them, and so you are moving from a place of more authentic clarity, if you will. So if you have been feeling this, let me know in the comments, and also feel free to share your own placements if any of them are being hit or impacted by this new moon. Now let's move into the Chinese astrology analysis for this new moon. So we've talked about the impact of this year. This is a fire horse year, lots of fire. With this new moon, it is falling in the month of the water dragon. So we have Ren, Chen, that is our month pillar. And then our day pillar is Xin, Yo. Now the day will change on time zones, but for this new moon, pretty much everyone is on the 17th. So we are working with the same day pillar here. For a year analysis, I have done an analysis on this already, so go and check out my other video, but essentially there is an excess of fire, there is an excess of heat this year. Like I said, we have a Ren Chen water dragon month. This is yang, water and earth, and then the day is yin, metal and metal. The rooster is metal as well. So if you have a dragon or a dog or a rooster or a rabbit anywhere in your 4 pillars, these will be personally activated for you. If you have a dog or a rabbit, especially a dog, this can be a slightly more challenging or intense time because you are in a clash. If you have a rabbit, this also will be a bit more intense, but it's more localized down to the day of the new moon. If you have a rooster though, this is quite a special configuration because 2 roosters together brings a more challenging combination. So this can also be a bit more challenging for you. Now let's take a look at what is impacted based on where those animals are in your 4 pillars. If you have one of those 4 animals in your year branch, this will have something to do with your social circle or your friendship groups. If it's in your month branch, this can be related to your career or to your parents. If it's in your day branch, this is personal to you. This is your inner self, or it can also be your love life. And if it's in your hour pillar, then this can have something to do with your children or the things that you own, like your investments, for example. This can also be your psyche, the stuff that you hide away, your secrets, etc. So let's now go into the energetic analysis before we continue looking at how it sits in relation to you, which is going to be universal for everyone depending on your self element. Let's do the month first because this is a longer period of influence, and the month is typically what we would call in season. So we are in the month of the dragon, and the dragon is earth. So we are in an earth season right now. That is the element in season. A reminder that with Chinese astrology, we are working with the 5 elements, not the 4 that we work with in Western astrology. So in Western, we have fire, earth, water, and air. In Chinese, we have wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So right now we are in the season of earth. And in our element system, fire feeds earth. So this double yang fire year supports this current season of earth. But the dragon is a special kind of earth. This is the grave of water, what we call the grave of water. So this is where water is stored. So it's wet earth. It carries water within it. And the stem, on top of the branch of dragon is Ren, which is yang water, which is like the ocean. So I want you to imagine the vastness of the ocean being underground, being held by the earth, under the surface of the earth. Water is psychological. It flows deep underground. Water people want to study things. They want to know the why behind the way that things happen. But earth is psychological too, but more so when it comes to understanding the rhythms of life or the earth around you. It wants to understand patterns and cycles. So a water dragon month with the ocean underground is deeply psychological, both in terms of your own internal world and also your connection to the rhythms of life and the earth around you. It's pretty much about everything that you have going on underneath the surface. You can also be feeling a little bit anxious or worried during this month, or you might be overthinking things because Earth can bring that up too. There is a feeling around this new moon of having to sit with something with no clear answer of exactly how to resolve it. So in terms of this new moon, a new beginning, this is a beginning that is being activated in this deeply psychological space. It's an internal beginning, the start of a new cycle in your inner psychological world. What has been stored there? What do you need to bring up from the depths of your own psychological ocean? What do you no longer need? What do you need to organize? What do you need to process? Now, if we have a look at the day pillar, this is a fully metal pillar because we have metal in our stem and then metal in our branch. This is yin metal as well. Yin metal is gentler. And metal can really help with this psychological reorganization because metal discerns. It is sharp. It knows how to separate what is necessary with what is not. Like I said, this is yin metal, more calculating, more gentle, so it can really help you get clear on what is true for you internally and also help you to really refine the plethora of stuff that you have going on inside. Keep in mind, this is a new moon, so it is a start of this discernment process. It's almost like, you know how you have that closet in your home or a cupboard or even a room where you kind of just store everything? So this process is like you going into that closet where you stash everything and you are going to start bringing everything out and start sorting it into piles. What do you keep? How do you organize it? And what do you throw out or what can you donate out? So that's why you might have thoughts and feelings that keep repeating, that keep coming back up. Things that you have thought you had moved past from, you had moved on from, that can also come back into your awareness right now because this new moon is about starting the process of understanding what you have been holding onto so that when you do move forward into the new chapter or into your next beginning, you have the clarity and the space for what you want to come in, not just the fire and the momentum of this Aries energy. So now let's go on to talk about how does this energy relate to you. And we're going to go by your self element, otherwise known as your day master. This is the top character of your day pillar. What is that element? Because that element is your self element. I'm an earth person, so this new moon is activating my self energy as well as my expression. The month activates myself, so this is focusing on myself, focusing on how I feel and process things, and then the day of this new moon is all about my output and expression. So this new moon, for me, or for my fellow earth people, is all about how my internal stuff shapes the way that I express myself, and how I might want to change my patterns around that, as well as what has previously influenced the way that I express myself. If you're a wood person, yin or yang wood doesn't matter. This month activates your money element. So what do you value? What are you manifesting out in the world? Then metal, which is our day, activates your power, your career, your sense of discipline. This new moon for you can be a time for you to internally reassess the relationship that you have to money, to your values, especially if there is something that you have been feeling pressured to make a decision on, or to do or show up in a certain way. And this can help you bring in clarity around what may need to change so that you are then showing up in a more authentic way. If you're a fire person, then this month activates your expression, and then the day activates your money and your wealth. So this is a time for you to reflect on your creativity and how you express yourself. What do you want to create? What do you want to share out in the world? What might need to shift in terms of how that relates to your intrinsic values and what you're investing your energy into? Is that a reflection of you and of the person that you want to be and you want to show up as? If you're a metal person, the month activates your resources and the day will activate yourself. So for you, this new moon is even more internal and reflective. You really are going into all the things that I've taught you about who you are and how you show up in the world. Who are you? How do you see yourself? How do you show up? What has influenced that? And what do you want to change? What no longer reflects who you are as a person? And finally, if you are a water person, then this month activates your power and your career, and the day activates your resources. So you might be feeling the pressure a bit more right now around this new moon, because this takes you into the responsibilities that you've had to take on, or the expectations that you have felt like you needed to fulfill or you needed to step into, and the pressure that people have put on you, or even pressure that you have put onto yourself. This new moon for you is all about how do you reorganize your mindset around all of this in a way that is healthier for you or more aligned with your goals. So in the comments, let me know, what is your day master? What's your self element? And how are you feeling the way that this energy is activating these areas for you? And if you want me to have a look at your chart, my readings are linked down below. I have birth chart readings. Right now, they are just Western astrology birth chart readings, but I also have astrocartography readings open, which is where we take a look at your most ideal places around the world, whether it is for travel, for relocation, or if you just want to find out where those places are for you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of me explaining Western and Chinese astrology in a way that is simple, easy to understand, and applicable to your life, then hit that subscribe button.